everyone, welcome back to my channel. I do appreciate you stopping by. So today we are doing the review for The Wheel of Time, episode 3. Just a precursor, like I said in my other reviews, I'm coming at this show from a viewpoint of never reading the books at all. So when I talk about the characters and the things that happen in the show, I'm just talking about the show itself. I'm not going to be comparing the two because I don't know the two. You know what I mean? So episode 3 is a good episode. I wouldn't say it's slow, but so far I'd say besides the... What the f...
Hey, look at you watching this video. Subscribe.
So anyhow, besides the first 20 minutes of episode 1, I'd say that the pacing in the show is actually pretty good. Episode 3 isn't too exciting. That's fine. If you have good characters and you have that emotional connection to the characters and the intrigue as to what's going on and all these different things taking place, then you don't need something that's super exciting. You don't need something with a ton of action scenes. Watching the first episode, I kind of figured that because they had that big action scene at the end, that there wouldn't be a big action scene in every episode. Episode 2 really didn't have much of an what the fuck? Episode 2 didn't have much of an action scene, and episode 3 didn't really either. There's a little small chase at the end, but besides that, there's really not much action, which is fine. Like I said, so we're introduced to a new character named Tom Marilyn, or Marin, I don't remember. And I find his character interesting. I'm not sure if I can fully trust him. He seems like the kind of person you can trust. And he seems pretty genuine, but at the same time, I don't know if he has ulterior motives going on or not. So that will be interesting to see if that's played out. Unfortunately, Morraine in this episode, Rosamund Pike's character, didn't really do much of anything, which makes sense given what's going on in the story. But I think she's a good actress, and I am hoping that she gets healed and that she's more in the show, because honestly, I'd rather watch her storyline than everybody else's. The two guys that are traveling together, I still don't know their names. I think one's name is Matt, and I don't know the other guy's name. But it's funny because they're not like the greatest people. And I find that interesting for a show because, you can't base all fantasy shows, books, or anything, base it around Lord of the Rings. But I'm just gonna do a little bit of a comparison to Lord of the Rings instead. Pretty much every character in Lord of the Rings is someone who has upstanding character. So it's interesting to see a show that's fantasy where the characters you're supposed to be rooting for are not exactly the nicest people, and they're also pretty self-centered. Like, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Seinfeld or something, because everybody, for the most part, doesn't care about everyone else. They just care about themselves. If they're with their friend and it works in their favor, they're gonna help their friend. But if it doesn't work in their favor, they're basically like, screw you, and they're just completely selfish. So in a way, it's a realistic take on how people are, and in another way, it's kind of, I don't know, unexpected, which is fine. I mean, if you watch the characters in Game of Thrones, pretty much everyone, beside like the Stark family, is like, they're all terrible people with just different levels of good and bad. In this show, I can kind of understand what they're going for. I'm gonna talk real briefly on the graphic violence in the show. I wasn't expecting it to be this graphic. It doesn't bother me, but just be forewarned if you haven't watched any of the show. There is some pretty decent bloody violence that occurs and some like disembowelment and things like that. It's usually never on screen for like a huge amount of time, but it is definitely there. Again, that's something that's kind of unexpected. Maybe because I kind of associate fantasy with, again, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, so you think more like family friendly ish, but with the amount of violence in this show, I wouldn't say it's exactly family friendly. Not that I want to get into content anyway, but it is what it is. So I'm looking forward to the next episode. I was ready to push play, and then I remembered, oh, the next episode doesn't come out till this Friday. So I don't know if I'll watch it this Friday, or I'll wait 2 weeks and then watch 2 episodes at once. I almost feel like I'd rather do that than watch 1 episode at a time. But I mean, I guess I'll see how many times my mind changes. If you've seen it, comment below on your thoughts about what you think about the characters, the way the story is progressing, or whatever. I'd be very interested. If you've read the books, you don't have to give me details, but in the comments, write something about, your opinion on if it's staying very true to the books or not. I'd be interested in that as well. Like my video, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next... Why do I always say that? I hope for you to see me in the next video. And I am Aaron, and goodbye.